Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to the Pitch Strike Chronicles. I am Uncle Tats. Rob is off today. Donald is at Giants training camp, so looking forward to hearing some stories from him. But you are here with me all by myself. But that doesn't matter because there is so much to talk about. There really is a lot to break down as we have not been around on the live stream for a couple of days. And we did miss everybody. Absolutely, we did. Quick shout out to everybody that showed up early in the chat. You got John the Beagle Dad, Jonathan, NFE from the Strike Zone. Make sure you go and sub up to his channel. And we also have Dev Finch. Dev, hope you're feeling better. Glad to see you popped in for a second. But I think the biggest thing the biggest topic that we need to start off with is the Judge injury. And I put a short out on the channel the other day as I was on the boat fishing with my wife, and the news came over, and everybody's running up to me on the boat that I know that knows I'm a big Yankee fan. Like, did you hear? Did you hear? Did you hear? And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. But no, Judge is out with a flexor strain. And it seems like he was playing for a couple of days with this issue. And I think that the Yankees really need to self-evaluate how they handle these guys, because it was clear on the broadcast. We saw the wincing. We saw that there was something wrong. And it's the same old BS where nothing to see here. Everything is fine. And you got to give credit to Judge and you also have to blame Judge. And I know there's going to be a controversial take, but you respect him because he wants to show up for his team. He wants to show up he wants to be in the lineup for everybody that's coming to see him, right? I forget the player's name, but there might be somebody coming to see me for the first time. I don't want to not be on the field. But at the same time, why didn't you just say, hey, coach, something's not right. Sub me out for the rest of the game, because I don't want this to be a long-term issue. And I think those are the two different ways you can look at this on Judge's behalf. And it also it takes a backbone from Boone. Boone's got to be able to have the balls to say, hey, I didn't like the way you looked on that play. I'm going to bench you for a little while. Let's not risk any long-term issue. Let's not risk an IL stint. Let's give you a little bit of rest for a game or two. And now here we are, where now he is on the IL. And the other issue is, well, the other fact of it is why isn't Jones called up? Well, Jones isn't on the 40-man. So a lot of people want to just say, well, it's such an easy move. It's not. There's a lot of roster shuffling that gets involved with that. So there was no clear, undeniable path to have Spencer Jones brought up to this roster. Could they have not traded for Rosario and called up Jones? That is a possibility. We're going to get to some of the moves that Cashman did make, but it also, everything trickles in where you have to see what Cashman's pivot is going to, where is this trade deadline now going to go? What is their next move going to be to make sure that they, you can't even say they're going to keep themselves above water, because they've already fallen. I think they're 5.5 out of the division right now, but they're still a game and a half up as the first wild card spot. So the Yankees are still a playoff team. In the next 10 days, while Judge, and you're hoping it's a minimum 10 days. If it goes any longer than that, I think the panic button's going to be hitting. And I think it's the worst freaking time for this to happen, because it's not like you have 2-3 weeks to see where Judge is going to be if you need to make a major change. Is it going to be a long-term issue? Right? My cousin Nick, you will know him in the chat. Mets fan since 1982. The first thing he texted me, he's like, scheduled vacation, and it kind of pissed me off when he said it, but he's right. Judge is one of these guys, he's going to miss time in the season. And you know, the Yankees did not, they can survive this. They absolutely can. You have Dominguez, you have Grisham, you have Bellinger for your outfield, right? So it's not like now they're playing with only two outfielders, right? It actually makes Boone's job easier on how to get these guys involved in these games. So you're going to have, you're going to be able to see a good size of games where we're going to see what Jones can win up what Dominguez can be on an every game basis, because they're going to lean on him a lot more. So we're going to have to see. Are you guys? Let me know in the chat, because we're going to get to a comment section. Throughout the show, where I'm going to answer some of your questions and shit like that. But quick. Gotta say thank you, NFE, for $2 super chat. Shout out to Uncle. Yeah, shout out to me. Because the show sucks, it's not my fault. I got no partners in crime to hot potato the conversation to. So you guys are gonna be stuck with me. And just also real quick for other people that are shooting in, we got Sunil hanging out with us, and we got Spencer, and everybody knows Spencer from the upper deck with his trivia questions. It's awesome that you take the time, and look forward to also the next, the History and Heroes show. I haven't seen one of, we got to get one of those out again. Lou, what's going on, Lou? Yeah, I could do an open panel, but there's so much I want to talk about. And we'll see how that all goes. But give a thumbs up if you're interested in an open panel for a little while. I'll run through a lot of the talking points because, like I said, there's a lot that I want to get to, and I want to try to give every topic that's in my head proper time, so we can have the back and forth discussions with the chat. And if you want to join the chat, it's very easy. All you got to do is hit that sub button. And if you are liking the content, easy, just hit that like button as well. Help us with the algorithm. Egyptian Magician, good morning to you, my friend. It's Cashman's going to have to figure out what he wants to do. Does he want to play the short game or the long game? And I think the first two moves that he's made, bringing in McMahon and then following it up with Rosario, I think you're seeing the long term and the short term. I think the McMahon move, I really like it. He was not the guy that I was looking to. He was actually a guy that Donald really wanted. He's been talked about from him for a while. So I'm happy that Donald actually has a guy on his roster that came through. But it's the Rosario move is the one that, was it really necessary? It's not going to hurt. And let's look at it this way. Who do we give up for those two moves? I think the biggest name's probably Beater. And then a couple other guys that really weren't on anybody's radar. So they still have a lot of ammunition to really make an explosion as the next couple of days go on, as we get to Thursday with the trade deadline. So I don't think it's going to be an issue where, oh, well, now what do? They can still make significant moves to improve this team, because the biggest thing is the roster is the rotation. The rotation. I'm going to get to that in a second. And also the bullpen. The bullpen needs some serious adjustments, and it's not that our rotation, our bullpen, Jesus Christ, is completely unable to do its job. We've seen Williams really step up. Williams has played really well. I think the fact that Weaver, I think he was still hurt, but they wanted him back so badly, they rushed him. And Rosario, yeah, and if he's replacing LeMahieu's role. That's all that is. He's a solid right hand bat. Has an OPS of this is why I love you guys. You guys come in with the facts to back up some of the things you're saying. He's got an OPS of 816 against left-handed pitching. Can play multiple positions. Defense not great, but the bat will do serious work. And I think that that's where it's going to come down to. He's going to be able to give. Maybe you throw him in, and I know a lot of people are like, well, he has experience at short. It's Volpe's replacement, or Volpe is going to be starting to take a back seat. He does not have a lot of games at shortstop. So I think that's one of those where you could throw that out the window. He is not here to take over for Volpe. Volpe was stuck with. I said the other day, it gives a chance for Dominguez to get more time with Judge out, because you're still going to be able to. You still have to field an outfield, and then Volpe is the one that it doesn't matter what he does. He can't. They won't take him off the field, but Dominguez they won't put on the field unless they feel like the matchups work. It's just, to me, it's just bullshit. Let's get to this one comment here from another one from NFP. I'll take McMahon and Rosario over. Oh, absolutely. Look, I'm not saying these guys suck. FJ, what's going on, FJ? But I want to pull up because when he does call onto the radio, he always shouts out the Pinstripe Chronicles, and we love him for it. Because on Saturday, I called WFAN and told fellow Yankee fan Chris McMonagle of my concern the Yankees would be at risk not finishing. Not even finishing with a 5. You think? Nah, they're going to finish above 500. That goes without saying. That's not in question. Where they are in the playoff chase, whether they pull it out and they win the division, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Right? I'm not going to hit the panic button on it. Right? As good as the Blue Jays look, the Yankees can look just as good at times. Right? They can go on the same run if they have the proper trade deadline. And whether they're going to be first, second, or third wild card. But there are 9 teams right now, they were saying this morning, in the wild card chase, all within 6 games. 9 teams. So if the Yankees seriously want to make a playoff push and get that bag of money, Cashman's going to really put he's got to sit on that phone 24/7. Just keep the coffee going. Right. And Lou, yeah, Volpe's a liability. Volpe's been playing a little better since the All-Star break. Not enough for us to stop questioning him for the future. But his at-bats are looking a little bit better. If he cleans up his defense, I could live with him. I could live with the possibility of his bat not being what we want it to be this year. Like I've said before, I thought this was going to be his breakout year. As far as one of the bats from our younger guys, Wells is the one I'm a little concerned with. And I can't really save Dominguez because they're not giving, he's not playing every day. As far as with Cashman with some of these trades, right, let's look at it this way. There's a lot of rumors right now that Ben Rice is on the market. Yeah, a lot of teams are calling about Ben Rice. NFE, bro, you're too kind. Another super chat from NFE. Here's another one for you. Well, it's you guys. We appreciate you guys keeping this channel going. Believe me, I could. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. We could have taken a little bit of a hiatus, but I really did not want to postpone another live stream after Friday's, untimely cancellation. Because there was so much going on. But if teams are calling for Ben Rice, here's what I'll say. Ben Rice, I think, is going to be, as far as who's on the major league roster, I think he's our hottest commodity for a trade. He's the guy that could really get us back something valuable. but it can't be for a bullpen guy. It can't be for you. You want to move him for a starter and package him for one of those. That's fine. I can't argue with that. And I don't want to get rid of Rice, but I don't like getting rid of anybody on the team. I really don't. But the business aspect of it, it is what it is. There's going to be situations where I always said, and if he's heard it, Spencer, a lot of you guys, sometimes the best trades hurt the most because you're going to have to give up somebody you don't want to get rid of. And Jim Bowden was on with Yankees Uncensored with Gary Sheffield Jr. I was checking him out this morning. And Bowden was saying that a lot of teams are getting the feedback that do not call the Yankees for Jones and do not call the Yankees for Lombard Jr. because they are not available. But anybody else is a guy that I think could be had or could be traded is going to be Warren. And it goes against everything that I've said in the past. I do not like trading anybody from our rotation. You don't subtract from an area of need, but if you're able to put like a Warren, Rice, Pereira, and you're able to get like a Zach Gallen and a bullpen piece, I can't be mad at that. Because if you're going to put Zach Gallen behind Fried, Rodon, and then you have Gallen, there are three reliable pitches that can carry you in a postseason if you play your cards right and you have with the off days, right? Because Gallen, he might not have the numbers this year, but the other value to him that I look at is also his postseason experience. So he's not going to feel the pressure of the postseason for the first time while he's trying to save the Yankees. So I think that's another part of it. A couple of people now trickling in. Demon D, haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you in the chat. Doran, hope all is well and you're staying safe. And yes, I know Jones has the back strain. Believe me, there's no team that's worried about that. If he was still available, they would trade him. They would trade for him when he's on the IL. That's how valuable Spencer Jones is on the market. So whether he's hurt or not, I think that has zero reason for him not to be available. Teams are not going to stop calling about him. He could be in a boot like Bader was. They would still trade for him. Any team would be stupid not to try to get him. Ollie, what's going on, Ollie? I would love Joe Ryan. I really would. Who would you give up for Joe Ryan, Ollie? Let's shift the conversation to that. If there's if there's a guy that you want the Yankees to acquire, who are you willing to give up? Who do you think is, you don't have to come up with the whole package, but if you're going to go after, say, a Joe Ryan, right? Do you substitute? See, that's a player I would say I would add Warren to the trade, like a starter for a starter. Right? That's somebody that I would move Warren with, because at least you're adding something with more experience. And Joe Ryan's got a great arm and a phenomenal last name. So, yeah, Dylan Cease FJ is an interesting one. I can't say, like, there's nobody that is playing well that I would say the Yankee, you can't get, don't get him. I think that everybody has to be looked at seriously. I think no stone can go unturned this trade deadline, especially that you have to not only weather the storm of Judge being out, you have to figure out a way to gain ground, right? And Nick, what would you have you spying on me? I was talking about you earlier, right? I wonder if Yankee fans are desperate enough to go blockbuster to get Nick Kurtz from the A's, while the A's came out earlier and says under no circumstance is Nick Kurtz available. That's going to be their piece for when they move. He's going to be their offensive superstar, and he's going to be. What a game he had! Congratulations to him. One of the best rookie games that has ever been played. Really, really happy for him. FJ throwing out here Ben Rice, Ben Hess, and another prospect for Joe Ryan, Duran, or Jax. I think if you can get Joe Ryan and one of those two relievers, I think we're in good shape. I think that's they're not the blockbuster bullpen guys, like right. It's not Miller from the A's, but this is where the rotation and the bullpen tie in together. One moment. Still goes so fast, my throat's getting dry. So this is one of those where you can see that when the bullpen was looking really good, when the rotation's playing really well, the bullpen was looking really good because you were getting innings from these guys. And you could see where there's that parallel. Because when the rotation starts to struggle, you're leaning more on your bullpen. So if you're able to get another reliable guy that can get you innings, right? If your starter's only going 4 innings, you're going to tax the shit out of your bullpen. And you're just constantly putting yourself behind the 8 ball because now you're overusing your bullpen and these guys are not getting the proper rest, especially if they have to go in an outing where they got to throw 30 pitches because they got to eat up a couple innings and they're facing a team that's going to give you some good at-bats. But if you're able to get a really solid start, you don't need another ace. You need a solid starter. That's where Joe Ryan really fits in. That's where Zach Gallen can really fit in. A reliable starter that's going to get you innings. Because you need to take the pressure off of your bullpen. That's why they're all falling apart. Because I think they said Hill yesterday. He said, we're at the not even to the trade deadline. He's at like 80 innings already. That's ludicrous. That shouldn't be. So that's where everything kind of, like that song you sing in elementary school, the hip bone's connected to the, the thigh bone. Like everything connects to itself. So it's gonna be interesting. I just think, Nick, I think Gallen's more gettable than Kelly. That's why I'm going with him. When we got Joshua in the chat, I really hope got O'Neal Cruz. See, here's the thing with O'Neal Cruz, right? If you get him, where are you playing him? There's a reason why a team in that position, right? Why would a team that's really that they're good? Nobody shows up to the ballpark to not be competitive, but you can't compete in that division. The NL is just too strong. There's a reason why they don't have him playing short anymore. There's a reason they moved on from short. So even if you did get an O'Neal Cruz, would he be an upgrade from Volpe? Yeah. But he's still going to have problems with short. That's why they put him in the outfield, which the outfield is not where we need help. So I think that's where O'Neal Cruz goes out of the equation. With Doran in here, I have to say, I like the moves Cashman has made thus far. Harrington would be a good starter. Losing him would sting in 2 years. But the need for McMahon was greater. The need for McMahon was, he's at 50? Okay. Hill's at 50 innings. I thought it on the radio they said 80. But it's the McMahon. We needed third base, and it's already paying dividends, right? He got in the first game here. He got his hit out of the way, so he doesn't have to worry about the pressure of I got to get on base, right? So he's not going over at the bat, but he's also making some really good plays at third. No, it's still a lot, but I thought it was that's even better than I thought at 80. But don't go by you should never go by my numbers. I go by what I hear. And let's get to a couple more comments here, because I do want to get a little feedback from everybody. And Doran's saying, I can't see the Yankees trading for a serviceable big league starter. Now, is that a young starter that's controllable, or just kind of like what I was saying, where you don't need an ace, you just need somebody. Like, I'm looking for a solid number 3 for a trade. Like, I don't want to get greedy, but I think a solid 3 in the rotation, because the rotation's it's severely beaten. And we can't afford not to build up on it. Well, Seth Lugo, if anybody doesn't know, Seth Lugo just signed an extension with the Royals. So Seth Lugo is now off of the market. Yeah. No, especially a lot of people didn't realize he was in the outfield full time. I thought it was going to be like a part-time thing just to kind of fill in. The bullpen's atrocious, Jay Snow. It is. But can you say it's also because of all the injuries with the rotation? Which is why I want to solidify the rotation. I want a starting pitcher so we can get a guy that's going to give us innings and not have to. The Yankees fall into this every year. They have all these issues that they keep going over and over again. They get the rotation. Somebody in the rotation goes down. They have to lean on the bullpen. Or Buna's a quick hook with the rotation, and they never get to see the 6th inning. So now you have innings 6, 7, 8, and 9, where you now have all your bullpen guys coming, and it's just not sustainable. It's a terrible, terrible way to run your pitching staff. An extension to increase his trade value. I haven't heard this outlook of it, but there were multiple reports that the Royals are not taking any calls on Lugo. They signed him, and the Rays are already the Rays. Geez, the Royals are. I know they just made a trade. I don't remember off the top of my head, but they just made a trade with Arizona, I believe it was. So they're making their moves. They think the Royals can, they think they're still in this race, and they could be. And it says there's 9 teams within 6 games. That's a check. Thank you, Snow. That's a solid 7 days of baseball. You go on a 7-game win streak, you're in it. You go on a 5-game win streak, you're in it. Any of these teams, if they got to play the Yankees anytime soon, they're in it. Because what's the best thing the Yankees have done this year? Fix everybody else's fucking team. That's the other thing that gets me frustrated. Every team that's out of it, they come up to the Yankees, and all of a sudden, they're World Series contenders. The way they play. Well, side note, but that's something that really it pisses me off. Why can't we used to be the team where if we felt something just a little off, we would play some of these low level, these low market teams, and everything, we would get ourselves back in gear, and we would go off, and we would play a lot better. That's not the way the Yankees have been anymore, and a lot of it is because of the roster construction from Cashman. It's also the roster management from Boone, and I think it's absolutely shocking that we haven't really heard word one from Hal. He's just sitting back, looking at, he's staring at his phone and his bank account going, yeah, nothing to see here. And that's like, oh, it drives me absolutely crazy. And Welkin, you're right. It's going to be the longest 4 games ever. But you do have relief, Welkin, and so does everybody else, because you have the Pitch Strike Chronicles, because Donald and I will be at the game Thursday. We will be at the Rays game. So while we are watching our New York Yankees, and I was so hoping they were calling up Jones, what a thrill it would have been to see him, for the opportunity to see him play in his first Major League Series with the Rays. But, if you do want to meet up with us, if you're going to be at the game on Thursday, just shoot us a message on any of our social medias. We'll try to do our best to make arrangements to meet up. But we'll also be giving you a lot of trade updates as the day's going on. We'll be watching closely. So make sure that you also have those notification bells hit. So if we do post any news or just any random videos on the deadline, that you do not miss any of the updates and highlights. But looking forward to meeting up with Donald. He's safely in the States. Like I said, he's at the Giants training camp today. Hope he's having a good time. I'll talk to him later on. Let's get back to the comments. I'm really enjoying these comments with you guys. Would you be interested in trading Volpe for CJ Abram? Yeah. I think I would trade Volpe for for anybody right now. And Volpe completely. I'm done with him. I'm done. Like I said, you hear a lot of the argument that he's still young. He's going to figure it out. And Volpe's an interesting player because he's had these flashes where he's looked really good. But it's too often he goes to these spurts where he just doesn't look like he belongs. Like he just looks lost. Not that he doesn't belong in the major leagues. He's doing something that I only dreamed of as a little leaguer, But I don't think that the pressure of the shortstop position is helping his growth, right? But where are you going to put him? A lot of people are saying that you're going to have Lombard Jr. at short next year and move Volpe to second base. But next year, I know we're getting going a little ahead, but wouldn't you rather have Chaz Chisholm? Wouldn't you rather have Jazz just be the guy that you lock up and let him take care of second for a little while? So I don't see Volpe moving positions. I just see him moving teams. And it's nothing against Volpe. He's a great kid. It's not for a lack of effort. I don't think right now with this coaching staff, he has the right support group to build him up. That's just, that's how I look at it. Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. I would rather have Lombard and Jazz up the middle. I'd rather have them two tandem with short and second. I think that really, you talk about, an iron wall in your defense. That's the problem, No, and Jonathan, you're right. I don't think anybody right now can confidently say that Volpe is the long-term fit. Right? I said it in the beginning of the year. I own it. And I don't think that's the case. He should have really taken a step forward. This is not like somebody like Dominguez that has not had a full season under his belt. So you're going to have, Dominguez is going to have those growing pains. And people are already starting to give up on Dominguez. Don't come at me with that shit. Not today. All right. So I'm right on that cusp of just completely exploding. Right? Because of all the frustrations going on with this team and where they're sitting right now. But if you think that Dominguez is the problem, you are not watching this fucking game. You are not watching these games. This guy he gets no rhythm. He gets very few opportunities. So if you're already ready to give up on Dominguez, what are you going to do if Jones comes up and struggles? What if Jones comes up, plays a phenomenal defense, right, and hits 100 with a couple of singles? We should have traded him when we had the chance. That this is where fans really piss me off, because you could hear it already. And don't tell me I'm getting ahead of myself. You could hear it already if there's an issue with Jones. I don't want to speak into existence, but that's the reality of it. Right? Everybody was so happy when Volpe got, look, they didn't wait, they didn't manipulate the clock on him getting called up. Right? They didn't manipulate the service time. They let him start opening day. Oh, Yankees, they did something right. Volpe had such a great spring. It's about time they're letting the kids play. And the second that he started to struggle, everybody turned on him. Well, it took me until his third year to turn on him. But I still held faith in the guy. Right. Nick. Dominguez needs to be the everyday center fielder because you can truly evaluate him fairly. Well, if he's going to be the everyday center fielder, why are we holding on to Jones? Jones is our center fielder. Jones is center field. Dominguez, I think with the right amount of experience in left, and left is not easy in the stadium. I'm not saying that left is an easy position, but I think that I think Dominguez is that guy. I think he has the work ethic where it's going to click. I would just be absolutely stunned if it never did. I think there was one thing I would really work on. I think his reaction time needs to be a little better, but every skill is there, except he's just got to read the ball a little better. And that's something that can come with practice, because he has the speed to chase everything down. I think Dominguez can be really good in left field. And I was, if you're going to put him in left, keep him in left. Don't start changing him around now. And we're going to get to another idea I've been hearing from fans of the Yankees and fans not for the Yankees on Aaron Judge and a few. Just to get to a couple more comments here from guys that are just popping in. Yankees for life. Welcome to the chat. Yankees get 2 good relievers. We need 2 good relievers, and we need a starter. And it's going to cost. It's going to cost us a lot. And we need to see if Lombard is that guy. But if he wasn't going to be that guy, they would move on. I don't think that he's that guy. Look, if with his defense, Volpe's the perfect stopgap, just to kind of to fill the roster for a couple of years and get Lombard ready. Lombard is going to be a stud. I don't think that's really. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Watkins, Jason is good, but I'm not playing him in high leverage games in the outfield. We need to win games now. We're very close to losing wild card. Forget the division lead. No, I'm not forgetting the division lead. No. We're not even in August. It's not like it's September 1st. Couple of weeks. We're and some legit trades. We are right back in this. No. If at the end of the season, if the Jays do win, if the Jays do win the division, then I can't talk shit on them anymore. Right? Remember, what was it last year, the year before? The Rays went on this insane run. Where'd they end up? Yeah, you still won the division. So it's there's way too much time in the season to say anything is over. Why do we keep the wrong catches now? Why? Yeah, it's yeah. So if we would have gotten rid of Wells and held on, to Ramirez, and Wells was tearing it up, we'd be like, oh, we made the wrong decision. It's and yeah, once again, bro, it's managing expectations with Dominguez and rookies in general. Exactly. Right. They're already talking about Jones being the Judge 2 point. Stop. Oh, it drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. Right. Now, what's going on, Stephen B? How is it going? Good to see you jumping in. Um, the other thing I wanted to bring it, yeah, play Egyptian. Thank you. Play Dominguez every day, no matter what. No matter what. Keep him on the field, please. Now, here's another problem that we're gonna have with oh, very nice. Enjoy your vacation, bro. It's yeah, and if he Ramirez got his jazz, so where whatever. Wills is gonna be fine. As disappointing as he's been for me, I picked him. My season prediction was he was gonna be an all-star. He's nowhere near it. I'm still not. It takes a while for me to just say, you know what, he's not it. Um, the pitchers never complain about him. He's working with a pitching staff, and I mean, the way he frames pitches is going to be obsolete with the ABS system coming in. That's a topic for another day. What's people are saying now with Judge's injury that when he comes back, he's going to go to DH, and fans, I heard on the radio saying, if he ever steps in the outfield again, the Yankees are making a mistake. Here's why that's ridiculous. Why would you take one of your? I mean, Belly's been a phenomenal outfielder. Why would you take Judge out of the outfield? Why? It makes no sense. It's bad enough he's going to be clogging up the DH. It's going to, now you give him it's almost like the Yankees set themselves up for these excuses of, well, the book, at the end of the season, right? Say everything just completely goes to shit, right? And they missed the playoffs altogether. Well, we missed Judge and we didn't have enough time to the deadline to make adjustments. Excuse number one. The bullpen was taxed and we just weren't able to get the key guys. The market was too high. Excuse two. We just didn't want to top part with, we didn't want to, absolve all our future in some of these trades. Just the market wasn't there for us. Excuse three, you hear it every year. Well, we're going to get a heel back. And, Warren's the guy that we think we could lean on the latter part of the rotation. And Yarborough, Cruz is coming back. We have players coming back, and it's going to feel like a trade acquisition. Excuse four. We get that one every year. I think that's been around, since Cashman took the reins. You know, we didn't have Garrett Cole, so we had to rely on Freed. We had to rely on Rodon to be our 1-2 instead of with Cole having a 1-2-3. So we did the best we could with the season that we were given. It's just we didn't get the result that we wanted. You could hear it already, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the excuses. How about everybody just step up and play that game? Look at what Freed was able to do, even though he's had a rough couple of starts since the blister. We're not where we are without him. People are also talking about trading Bellinger because he's going to get a huge contract. So sell high. Who's going to play the fucking outfield? Move Goldschmidt. Who's going to scoop the ball when they're all in the dirt from Volpe? You rely on Rice, and I like Rice. But the Yankees have a lot of questions to answer, and they put themselves in this predicament. This is what drives us all crazy. This is what drives everybody crazy, because the Yankees bring this on themselves and get us aggravated with it, and then we start fighting amongst each other. Well, you get rid of this guy, get rid of that guy, and the biggest one of all, let's get rid of Stanton, one of our better offensive guys. Stanton's got a no trade, people. And I'm not talking to the chat. Everybody knows who I'm talking to. He's got a no trade. Where is he going? He's not going to accept it. And why would you want to trade a guy, right, that shows up? He gives everything to this team. He gives his body up. Right? We know he's going to go on the IL every year. Here's a reminder for all the Stanton haters. Let's remember what he said. Let's remember his performance in the postseason. But let's also remember what he said as everybody got their pennant rings. I better not see anybody wearing it. That's not the ring we're after. Is that the mentality you want off your team? Is that the mentality you want to trade away? We're always saying, who's going to be the captain alongside Judge? You got him. You got Stanton. Who's the silent captain? Stanton. Cole. And you know what? Even if he was able to be traded, that would piss me off if he was. Thank you, Nick. Never been a Stanton fan, not because he sucks, because he's a damn Met killer. Oh, Johnny, he's enjoying Soto. You have no idea. Stanton's untradeable. Absolutely. CT, I did see you sneak in. What's going on? Belly may actually be our best hitter, in my humble opinion. No, Belly's been he's a stud. And people are saying that we should trade him because the odds of him sign, the Yankees being able to sign him back is going to be minimal. Is going to be minuscule. And I don't think so. He's loving it here. Maybe try to get him to extend. What's it going to take for you for your option? We'll throw in a bonus. Pick up the extension. We'll add a year. Give you three full seasons here, then we'll figure out what we can do together. No, I know that, Steve. That's why I'm saying, why wait? So you pick up your option, right? We'll give you, a bonus, and we'll tack on another year on top of it. At market value for his production. So it's to me that's a no-brainer. Belly's been the heart of the team. Him, Judge. I think Freed's been a really good rally guy. Weaver needs Weaver needs another IL stint. And I think you're going to have to make a decision in the offseason with the end of your rotation. Who are you going to keep, Weaver or Williams? Right now, at this state, I'm keeping Williams. Celia, good to see you on the morning show. So you're in the chat yesterday with the ladies. From the reports I'm reading as well, it seems like they are not going to go after any big pitches after the Judge injury. They don't need a big splash of a move, Celia, in my opinion. I think if they're going to go after a starter, I think if they're able to get a number 3 guy, like a 3 or a 4, that can really match up well with the tandem of Fried, Rodon, and insert Joe Ryan or like a Zach Gallen. I think that gives me confidence as a fan going into a postseason run. I think that makes me feel a lot more comfortable going into a postseason series. So they don't need the big splash. Jonathan saying this is not the year to go all in. No, I think that unless you're going into the trade deadline under 500, no, it's not all in. And my definition of all in, just so everybody knows, I mentioned it the other day. If you're saying you want him to go, Cashman to go all in, then everybody's tradable. Everybody. Right? I want him to be aggressive. I want him to hold on to our top guys. I want him to hold on to a Jones. I want him to hold on to Lombard. Right? And guys of that caliber. But if I'm going to sit there and say I want him to go all in, and he misses out on getting Dylan Cease because they want Jones, then no, he's not going all in. So that's just the way I define it. Right. So that's my definition of when you say you want him to go all in. Last year was an all in. Jonathan, yes. Rob and I talked about that last Wednesday. Last year was the year to go all in because there was no way in hell that Soto was saying. Anybody relying on Stroman needs to get an examination. He is not. He's going to be another one of those guys. He's not making the postseason roster. He's not. And if you have a great day, bro, enjoy the rest of your day, and make sure you go and you check out NFE's channel, The Strike Zone. Highly recommend that channel. He's doing amazing things over there. But I just want Cashman to get 2 serviceable relievers and a starter to give the team somewhat of a shot. But the question is, Willie, I'm not sure. Yes, Celia, I think the way that if he's not able to really make significant changes to this team, I think you have to make the decision of, do you call up some of these guys just just to see what you have for next year? Um, but I also think that there's going to be some disappointed fans. There's going to be some excited fans for the deadline, because they're either going to go all in, or they're going to be aggressive. I almost went against my own logic. Shock. Um, if they're able to get aggressive and they're able to really make significant moves and get this team back on track, we're all going to be ecstatic. Anybody saying that they're going to be pissed off because they really solidified this team and they're getting things right. If they don't, and they're like, all right, we're just going to make some minor moves to make the team competitive, but not postseason competitive, then you're going to see fans that are going to be pissed off. But they're going to be like, well, at least we held on to our young guys. At least we got ourselves, some youth to bring up next year and see what we have. And then collectively, everybody's going to be pissed off because Boone's still going to be here. And I think that's the biggest problem is Boone. No, I'm not saying get rid of Shaw. I just don't think he's going to be on the post. I don't think he would be on the postseason roster. I think they're going to keep him off there yet again. Is he going to get, look, if we had the healthy rotation we were ready to start the season with Cole, Fried, Rodon, Heel, Schmidt, where's Stroman? Where's Warren? Warren is not even a thought. Schlittler to the pen is possible. I think that's yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. I think that would be a move where you're not gonna hurt his growth. If you're able to hold off moving him till September, let him get a full month of starts. See what that's if he's not traded, if he's not moved. So, and Yarbrough comes, but yeah, he goes right to the bullpen. As much as I'd like to see Yarbrough, I think he was holding up really well as a starter. But coming off the injury, he's one of those guys with his experience and his resume. If you put him in the bullpen and then need to restretch him out for a starting position, it's not going to hurt him. So I bring him back slow and steady, and that starts in the bullpen. Jake, what's going on? I feel like I've ignored you. I apologize. Theoretically, since they need someone high velo, Whitler can be moved to the pen, and then only possible one reliever and a starter. Fact. And so I'm saying, I don't think that's going to hurt Schlittler. If they have to move, if they're not able to move him, and his arm is too good that you don't want to send him down, I think you have to leave him in the rotation until you get Heel back and see what Heel is. So say your rotation turns into Fried, Rodon, Heel, Warren, and Schlittler. Or Schlittler, Warren, depending on how they're pitching. Are we pissed off? I don't know if we could say that that's going to be the it's one of the reinforcements coming back. I don't know. I don't pay attention to the timetables because they could be like always projected to be back, and then there's always when they step onto the field, they're back. I look, Littler was my prospect to watch in the beginning of the year. So I'm not one that only heard of him when he got called up. I've been watching him. He's the real deal. And I think that if they do have to move him in a trade, that's going to be someone you can move for a big piece. But I think I don't like trading pitching. I don't, especially once they get the major league experience. I think it'd be a huge mistake. Yeah, that's all we're doing. Alelkin is putting our opinions out there and having a discussion about it. And that's what we do here. He has it, but he also has the arm velo Snow to be a phenomenal freaking guy in the rotation. Right? We don't have that starter that's going to to have that type of velo and command. We could be looking at a rotation stud. So I'm just saying for this season alone. Next year he's a starter no matter what team he's on. I think he does have that makeup, but this season alone, it would not bother me. Remember, we all kept saying make Heal the closer. Maybe Schlittler for a month is in the back end of the bullpen, and then you let him work on his getting back to being started next in the off season. So I mean, there's a million possibilities, and there are a lot of options that the Yankees have. It all depends on whether Cashman's able to execute properly to the trade deadline. So it's unfortunately this is the waiting game that we're stuck in, and just like you guys, I'm sitting with the same waiting game. It's not we can go back and forth on a lot of things, but at the end of the day, all right. Sorry, Jared. I heard what you said yesterday on the show that you're going to stop watching. I call B as on you. So we're still going to tune into this team. We're still going to rally around them. We're going to be waiting on bated breath for that turnaround game that really starts everything rolling in the right direction. When it's going to be, I have no idea. But with that, we will just we'll keep an eye on everything going on behind the scenes in the trade deadlines and all the headlines. And we'll be back Wednesday at 10 a.m. And with that, hope everybody enjoyed the show. Hope I didn't put anybody to sleep, but enjoy talking with you all. That is going to conclude today's show. So make sure you hit that like button. Hit that sub button if you want to join the chat in the future. And make sure you share this out with your friends, your family, the strangers around the corner. This is Uncle Tats with the Pinstripe Chronicles telling you to wear those pinstripes of pride and play hard.